Deliberate practice is something I've brought up before, but I didn't go into too much detail on. You may hear this phrase a lot because it's what separates average people from those who have achieved a high level of expertise in their field. It's why two people can study or practice something for the same amount of time and end up on two totally different levels, and know it has nothing to do with natural talent or ability. This can apply to chess, sports, mathematics, writing, sales, weightlifting, playing a musical instrument, and so on. The info I gathered for this video is from the book Peak: Secrets from the New Science of Expertise, which is all about research into why experts become as good as they do in their fields, so let's get into it. To start off, what is deliberate practice? Well, it's focused practice with a certain goal in mind. It's where you try something you cannot do in a way that takes you out of your comfort zone. You focus on exactly how you're doing it, what may be going wrong, and what you will do to get better. Comfortable practice would be playing chess against your friends several times, and when you lost, you would start over and try again. Deliberate practice would be watching games of chess grandmasters, studying their moves, recreating certain scenarios for yourself and seeing if you can remember the best moves to make and why those are the best. It would be analyzing your games and looking at where you're making your biggest mistakes and reanalyzing what you should be doing differently. Comfortable practice is playing tennis against someone over and over, simply hoping to get better through consistent playing. Deliberate practice is saying, okay, I'm having trouble returning the ball when I need to do a backhand and the ball is around this height. Then having someone serve the ball to you in a way that forces you to get better at that specifically. Here's what most people do. Continuing with the tennis example, let's say you wanted to start learning tennis and didn't know a thing about it. You'd probably start hitting a ball back and forth with someone like a friend or a coach. You might be missing swings or hitting the ball into the net constantly and so on, but that's okay. You're here to get better and excited too because hey, it's a new endeavor. Then those stupid mistakes start to become more rare, you improve your backhand a little, you get better at your serves, and you've now reached a level of comfort in which you enjoy playing the game. You have an idea for what to do, you can maybe teach a total beginner now, and have mastered the easy stuff. Now you get together with your friends every week and play, you get some exercise and you have fun in the process. There are obviously still weak points in your game, but they aren't holding you back from playing, and you've now let your game become automatic. Once this happens, you will stop improving. This happens because you're comfortable, and this is what happens for most people in a lot of fields. They settle with being okay. This can happen in any field too. Maybe someone wants to become an expert programmer and gets good enough to program basic websites or apps. Especially if that can provide a living for them or maybe just a fun hobby, it's easy to stop there. Why pull out your hair in frustration to learn a new advanced concept when you can do what's familiar and still benefit from it? But experts have a high level of commitment where they're dedicated to becoming the best that they can be. They will not settle for average. So now we know that people can get comfortable and stop improving, but also on this journey to mastery, no matter who you are, you will run into obstacles, where no matter what you do, you can't seem to improve. This could be a really tough class in college where you study a lot but don't really do any better, or it could be a high jumper who's been improving so much per week but now just cannot pass a certain jump. And this is where people can simply give up. They see the obstacle as an immovable wall, a peak point for them where their journey has ended. But there's good news here, and that's that an actual dead stop obstacle that there's no way you can get over is extremely rare. Based on observation, researchers almost never encounter this. What they find instead is that people simply stop trying there. And that's why deliberate practice is so crucial. It's what takes you past those boundaries. I know it's easier to just play chess over and over, or play that song on the piano that you're really good at already, or just do the math problems you're comfortable with, but that's not how you improve. If you never push yourself out of your comfort zone, you will never improve. And it's finding your way around these barriers, the ones that cause you the most struggle, that is the key to success. If you don't take anything else from this video, at least remember this. In fact, as a side tangent, the human brain is capable of storing about 7 numbers in short-term memory, as science has said. If I were to start listing off numbers, you could probably remember up to 7, maybe 8 or even 9 if you focused really hard, but that might be pretty hit or miss. But researchers wanted to see what people could do if they practiced, even though years of research showed we can only store a fixed number of things in short-term memory. Some people tried and simply could not remember any more than maybe 8 or 9 digits and then they gave up. One student really struggled to beat 9, until one day the student and a researcher tried something new, where the student would be given 5 numbers in a row, and if he got it right, which he usually would, he would move to 6. Then if he got that right, it'd move to 7 and so on. But if he got it wrong, they'd drop the length by 2 and go again, so the numbers were always on the edge of what the student could do. With this technique, the student ended up memorizing and repeating 10 digits for the first time ever, breaking through that barrier finally. He tried for 11 but then missed. He went back down, and on the second round of 11 digits, he got it right, another barrier broken. After several training sessions, he could consistently remember 20 digits, more than the researchers ever thought would be possible. Then after a few hundred training sessions, he was able to remember 82 random digits. Imagine getting those digits one at a time at a rate of 1 per second and reciting them back perfectly. People compete in various competitions of memory, and in order to remember these sequences better, competitors try things like grouping numbers together, associating numbers with objects, and so on. I don't know what the records for everything are, but the author of the book talks about someone who remembered over 300 digits this way. This is the power of deliberate practice. Through deliberate practice, your brain and your body are capable of much more than you realize. And it's not like these people were born with the ability to remember things better. It's the fact that those people used deliberate practice to push through every obstacle they came across. Sometimes they could just not remember a certain amount of digits no matter how much they practiced, until they tried something different which allowed them to pass that barrier. So what are some things you can do to achieve mastery in your field? One is to find a good teacher. Learning from the best teachers is one of the fastest ways to get into deliberate practice. They can tell you what you're struggling with and give you ideas for how to improve. Sometimes we're stuck with video tutorials online, but often you can seek out personal tutors, talk to your teachers during office hours about what you need help with, hire personal coaches, find a good mentor, and so on. Another thing is to challenge your body or brain in new ways when you hit a plateau. As the author states, generally the solution is not try harder, but rather try different. Everyone will hit plateaus. Some of you may struggle very early on in a class while others breeze by in the beginning. But eventually, especially when becoming an expert, you will hit a plateau that stops you. These points is where it's the easiest to quit and it seems like you can't move on. But remember, you need to implement deliberate practice and try something new. Don't just repetitively do the same thing over and over hoping to improve. If while practicing something new you find your mind wandering or you're relaxed and having fun, you probably won't improve as much. For example, long distance runners sometimes try to distract their mind from the pain and focus on something else during competition. But they found that elite runners focus on their body, their pace, how they feel, and actively figure out how to optimize the remainder of their run. Now when implementing deliberate practice, you will realize it's just not as fun as what you might be used to. It's way more fun to just play chess rather than really focus on exactly what a chess master is doing, then try to implement it yourself or guess their moves. It's way easier to watch a math video on Khan Academy and just wait for an answer than actively figure out a tough math problem on your own. And it's easier to just read a book than recall what you learned after each chapter and take notes on how it relates to what else you've read. But the good news is that feeling of painful practice does go away after time. You will create a habit of doing all these things and it will become easier to put in that extra effort. Of course, this practice will always require a lot of effort, whether it's physical or mental, but it will ease over time. They found that spelling bee champions did not enjoy studying more than anyone else. They all said they would have been quite happy doing something else. But the people who were the most successful spellers simply had a greater ability to remain committed to studying despite boredom. And if you've given up on things before, that doesn't mean you can't make it through your next endeavor. In the book, the author states, if Katie becomes a chess grandmaster after 10 years of studying and Carl gave up in 6 months, does that mean Katie had more willpower? Well, what if I told you that Katie spent a year practicing piano and then quit before starting chess, while Carl is now a renowned concert pianist? So if you haven't even found something to commit to, that's okay, it just might still be out there. It's hard to claim generic willpower in people or simply say you have trouble staying focused on things. Maybe that thing you will want to focus on just hasn't surfaced yet. To conclude, whether you want to become an origami expert, a golf pro, a successful mathematician, a standout engineer, an amazing singer, deliberate practice is what will get you there. It's not easy and it's not a short journey though. But now at least when you're practicing something, be on the lookout for too much comfort in your practice or training. Be aware that hitting plateaus is normal and each one you get past just puts you ahead of the next person who gave up. And remember that most people settle for a life of only okay. And it's not natural talent or ability that is preventing you from anything, but how much effort you put into your practice over the years. Now I'm going to end that video here. If you liked it, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.